Much more on the oil disaster in the Gulf coming up, but Jack Cafferty's here right now with the Cafferty File. Jack.
Well, if we were talking a little about this yesterday, it's no wonder that President Obama's hair is turning gray, with the Middle East seemingly once again on the verge of erupting. The U.S. continues to stand by Israel, which is coming under tremendous international condemnation for that botched deadly raid on an aid flotilla headed for Gaza. The details of the attack on the Turkish ship are still fuzzy. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is defending the raid, which left 9 people dead. He says Israel's troops were met by a vicious mob, that they were stabbed, clubbed, and fired upon. That ship carried 10,000 tons of aid, including wheelchairs, notebook paper, and water purification systems. The leader of the group that organized the flotilla says Israel used excessive force on unarmed civilians. The UN has condemned Israel, and Turkey, which is Israel's top ally in the Muslim world, is calling it a bloody massacre and describes Israel's actions as murder. The U.S. is walking a very fine line here, trying not to anger Israel or the Arab world. Good luck with that. The White House says it's sorry for the deaths, but it's not condemning Israel's actions. Tensions are already running pretty high between the U.S. and Israel, and this will undoubtedly only further complicate peace talks in the Middle East and the push for sanctions against Iran. The raid raises serious questions about Israel's ongoing blockade of Gaza. It insists the blockade is meant to stop Iran from sending weapons to Hamas in Gaza, but critics want the blockade to end now. Meanwhile, this story is far from over, with another ship with humanitarian aid due to arrive in Gaza later this week. Israel says it's going to stop that one, too. Here's the question. Is Israel looking to start a war? Go to CNN.com/Cafferty File and post a comment on my blog. This is dangerous stuff. They're playing with hand grenades over there.
Yeah, this is very dangerous. It's a delicate moment. Get right back to Jack for the Cafferty File. Jack.
The question this hour is Israel looking to start a war? Sandy writes, according to the rest of the world, yes, but it doesn't matter what Israel does. They are crucified. Unfortunately, they made a bad choice to board that ship. We, the United States, need to stand with Israel. Jason in California writes, Israel's looking for a war, or at least a conflict, to continue to justify their oppression of Palestine. Even if the people on the boat used clubs, knives, etc., Israel boarded their ship commando-style from helicopters, people with guns and grenades. This was the first hostile act, and the people on the boats might have defended themselves. Anthony in New Jersey writes, predictably, the vitriolic Arab world and the impotent UN joined forces once again united against the Zionists. Even the United States has to give lip service to the outrage. Imagine if our country was isolated among people bent on our destruction. What would we do if a flotilla floated by giving comfort to our enemies? Only the Atlantic Ocean keeps us from being persecuted every day by these throwbacks. We should not be quick to judge. Scott in San Diego writes, no, they're not trying to start a war. They are defending themselves, and they should. I usually don't agree with Israel, as they are very much over the top, but in reality, they have to be. This is a ploy for the Muslims to start a war. Mel writes from California, yes, Jack, they are. Otherwise, how could anyone explain their irrational behavior over the last few years? They want the Palestinians to leave both Gaza and the West Bank so they can annex it. They even have plans about Lebanon. They want to start David's kingdom. You're watching Israel use the sympathies of the world for their existence to expand their Zionist empire. We better wake up and smell the roses, or we'll find ourselves in a world war. And Tom writes from Florida, how interesting that the United Nations can condemn Israel for this incident before even investigating all the facts, but it cannot condemn North Korea for sinking a South Korean vessel, even though there is significant and verifiable proof that that ship was sunk by a North Korean torpedo. Shame. If you want to read more on this, we've got a lot of email. Go to CNN.com/Cafferty File. Almost forgot my own blog address.
Yeah, it's a great address, too. Thank you, Jack. Jack's going to be right back.